welcome to the Wartime MMA podcast with our second pay-per-view in a row of C325, second pay-per-view and second card of the Paramount era. If you can even call it a pay-per-view, but it's UFC 325 numbered event, Volk versus Lopes 2. And for Australia cards, this honestly isn't the biggest piece of dog shit we've ever had to ingest. So I'm honestly happy about that. The top three fights are bangers, and we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, just great card last week. Great fight to end it off. Good way to open up the Paramount card. There was like 3 or 4 straight first round finishes in the prelims. I forgot exactly what we did, but we did pretty damn good on that card. Uh, we of course got some of the big predictions wrong, like Patty, but there was also some sleepy ones, and people they robbed Tony. They robbed Tony of the rose pick. That's okay, but you know, shit happens. I think that was a good start to our first year of the card. Up my record here if it could load any slower.
I know I went
Was
like 7-4.
I have 3 losses. I went 8 and 11. My 3 ones I was wrong on were Patty, Modestus, and Charles Johnson, which I think are all favorable picks to go wrong. And Rose, of course, was a great pick as well. I wanted to pick Natalia, but I think she lost.
Mhm.
But just without further ado, I guess we can just go right into this Volk card. Opening up the prelims, they're going to be having the Road to UFC fighters with all the small weight class guys, 125 up to 155. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know really jack shit about these guys, but I'm gonna do the best I can. I've looked at a little tape. I've heard some things, heard some rumors, and we're gonna go with it. But the first fight of the night, 125 tournament championship for Road to UFC, Namsrai Batbayar versus Aaron Tao. I'm a little bit more familiar with Aaron Tao. He lost to Elijah Smith in the Contender Series. He's like Gene Silva if Gene Silva took out all of the skill and just replaced it with more tard. He is a tard maxer. He is somebody who's in here to fight and scrap more than anything. He's a Kai Kara France version of Kiwi. He's a white dude that like has it in his head that he's Maori, and he actually went the extra mile and fucking got all the face tats. Maybe I'm wrong and he is Maori, but I mean, I see that European blood in him. I'll be real. I look at it and it looks like a brother of mine. I'll be real. Aaron Kai Kara France's brother-in-law or something. We're just gonna roll with that. That's canon now. Uh, Tard Maxis throws big shots, big leg kicker, but outside of that, he's very fundamental, nothing special, but it's shitty fundamentals. I don't really like what I see. I'm gonna take a risk for the younger, in my opinion, probably better guy from a region who produces better fighters, and we don't have too many Mongols representing Mongolia. It's more of Kazakh fighters with Mongol blood, so I'm gonna go with the Mongol
Uh,
submission.
yeah, I'm gonna agree with Alex. I don't really know too much about either or. I think they are gonna go for the Mongol market here, especially that this man's younger than Aaron Tao. Uh, I don't really know too much. Like I said, I'm just gonna go with a good old decision here. Not really else to break down here. I try to look for some fights. I try to do everything I could to put in the to put in effort into picking some of these guys. I know this guy's been knocked out before in 2016 and in the amateur scene, and he lost in the contender series too. So it's not a very good sign that you're just coming to this after you just lost to the to in the contender series. So I think I've yapped far too long about this fight. I'm gonna go with the Namsari Bayar or whatever that Mongolian name is. The Steppe Warrior by decision.
Hard name.
A fight. Road to UFC, basically flyweight championship. Aaron Tao. I've seen more of him, given because the contender series fight, as Alex mentioned, against Elijah. Uh, he's just not the biggest guy, and that's saying something at flyweight. I think he's like 5'4". He has 7 knockouts on his record, but the regional scene in Mongolia, it's not like world renowned, but I'm gonna trust in that over the level of competition that Aaron Tao has been facing. I see a lot of negative records on those wins. The only loss that his opponent, the Mongolian, has faced was a rear naked choke loss to Barrel, who was in the UFC. So at least I know he's lost to someone of UFC caliber, and that's not a terrible loss. So I'm gonna make it a clean sweep. I'm gonna go Alex and Mike on this one, and I'm gonna go with the Mongolian. Do not want to butcher this name. Namsrai uh, Matabiar. Gonna guess that. Yeah, step A warrior. Um, Could see a finish, but I'll go decision. I think he just mixes the martial arts better. We see a little bit of everything if we need to. Kicking game, boxing, clinch, grappling. I'm just gonna trust in him. He's younger. We don't have too many Mongolian to the higher level, at least in the UFC. We got plenty of Australian talent. Aaron Tao's not bad, but I just think this guy is bigger and is probably more well-rounded. So I'm gonna go with him. My decision. Clean sweep.
Yeah, moving on to our next tournament final for the bantamweights, we have more names that I'm gonna suck at pronouncing. Sulang Grangbo versus Lawrence Louis. I'm gonna have to go Lawrence Louis here. He's got a record of 7-1 versus Sulang Rangbo, 10-3. Sulang Rangbo, he's 20 years old. He's pretty inexperienced, or at least you would think. He does actually have more fights than Lawrence Liu, but I see this routinely in especially Asian MMA, usually Chinese in particular, where you'll have like this contender and he'll have like 10-3 record like this guy, and you look at him and he's like fucking 19, and sure you can beat everybody's ass on the China's regionals, but there's a jump. You know, even Song, he had to be pretty much can fed and cultivated for like almost what it feels like a decade before he's a contender. And I don't think they're gonna treat this guy like they did Song. I don't think he's good enough as early as Song was to have the UFC want to promote him and push him like that. I like the striking and the MMA that's been coming out of the oceanic regions lately, New Zealand, Australia. Looking at Lawrence Liu, you would expect him to be taller and longer than he actually is. Tapology has him listed shorter than Sulang Grangbro, but honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Lawrence Louis here. Just looking at his face, I don't know why. This just something about his face tells me that this a guy knows how to keep range. He's got like that skinny man's face. Like he's got to be a long boy fighter. He's 72-inch reach at bantamweight, which is pretty big compared to a 66-inch reach for Sulang Grangbro. Um, I gotta go Lawrence Louis. I trust the oceanic regions more than I do with China. I feel like China doesn't really cultivate him. They just see a little bit of talent and immediately throw him in the deep end. I'm gonna go Lawrence Louis. I'm gonna say TKO. I'm gonna say late round TKO. I don't think Lang Grangbro has seen enough at higher level outside of China to really be able to fuck with him. I'm gonna go Louis.
Uh, yeah, I'm gonna agree with Alex. I got Lawrence Louis by I'll go second round TKO. Another fight that I didn't really do too much study on. There's not really else to look at here. Uh, I see that Sulan Grengbro is he got knocked out before, and I don't know. I'll just see how it goes there from there. So I'll get I'll go second. I'll go second round TKO.
Very interesting fight. According to the odds, they got Sterling Grangbro as minus 250 favorite. Funny enough, it appears that his opponent Lawrence Louis trains at City Kickboxing and has the better gym, I would imagine. Sterling Grangbro, from what I'm seeing on his Tapology, is only 20 years old. His opponent's 29. It's a tough fight. I'll be honest. I haven't really watched either of these guys' tapes, but that betting line is a little telling, if you ask me. They're favoring him despite having more losses and being younger, so that's interesting to me. But I'm looking at Lawrence Louis' Tapology. His only pro loss isn't bad. It's a split decision to a guy who's 10-2 on the regional scene in Australia. That I don't hate that. But in the amateur scene, it's saying that he got knocked out by someone who's 1-6 as a pro, was 4-5 as an amateur, and he lost a decision to someone who was 1-1 as a pro. I don't really know anything about either of these fighters, truthfully, to tell you, but I'm just gonna go with I think more marketability in the sense of we have plenty of Australian talent, and I think that this card is filled with a bunch of it. But I think not all of them are going to win. I just picked against Aaron Tao in the first fight of the night, even though he trained to city kickboxing and he looks, because I am kind of looking for an underdog on this card, and nothing really has stuck out to me. So this could be the one, but I'm actually gonna go with Suling Rang, bro. I'm gonna go with the Chinese talent. He's younger and they favor him, so I'm gonna see why. I'm gonna go with Suling Rang, bro, by decision. I think his striking has to be as advertised, based to be the favorite. It's a tough fight, but I'm gonna go with him by decision.
Moving on to the 145 Road to UFC Championship tournament bout. Uh, Sebastian Cesale out of Australia versus Nakamura. That doesn't say the first name. Kichiro Nakamura out of Japan. Looking at this, Cesale, the Australian's older. He's a little bit smaller as well. That being said, he's actually favored on Tapology, 77%. He's the second biggest favorite out of the Road to UFC guys on Tapology. Uh, maybe they've seen something that makes them want to pick this guy. I'm looking at it, he doesn't seem to be too finish heavy. He's certainly probably more experienced, probably better trained. It kind of makes me want to lean with Sizzle, but I want to root for Nakamura. There's not a lot of Japanese fighters outside of flyweight. This would be featherweight. I don't have a whole lot to go off of. I don't want to just pick Cesale because the Tapology says so. I kind of want to pick Nakamura. Truthfully, I don't know a damn thing about either of these guys. I kind of favor the training and the dedication that Australians have put into MMA lately. That makes me want to lean Cesale. I think Nakamura can do it too, but I think I will favor Tapology's odds and just go with Cesale. Probably the more well-rounded opponent. I like what the Australians have been doing in MMA. I'm gonna go Cesale decision.
Uh, yeah, I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with Sizzle too. Why not? Your home country. You're going against a Japanese dude, and why not? Why not pull it off? And I think they're probably gonna have to find another Australian guy to to promote for in featherweight when Volk's gone in the future. So why not try to promote promote more people in that region? So yeah, I'll go with Sebastian Sizzle by decision.
Unmute. Come on now,
Appreciate
Tom.
you. Tough fight in the featherweight championship. Again, another fight. I just really wasn't tapped into Road to UFC. Truthfully, I'm not gonna lie. Tough fight. Sizzle has slightly more experience, not by too much though. It's 10-1 versus 7-1, but I'm looking at Nakamura's opponent record, and it's not that great. Like he's beating guys that are 21-18. The 9-1 wins good, the 15-6 wins good, but 4-3, 5-7, you know, these aren't the best of opponents. And I'm gonna trust on paper Australians regional scene over Japan's regional scene in MMA. I think Japanese fighters like to grapple, like Tatsuro Taira, like Ray Saruya. Australians, they know how to strike. They know how to box in MMA. So I'm gonna trust that the damage and the intent to damage and score points on the feet will be more than Nakamura's style. I don't even know Nakamura's style, but I'm just gonna blindly assume that there is some submission capability or that is part of his offensive game that he tries to grapple. I'm gonna say his late experience and just better overall striking is gonna win him the fight. So I'll go Sizzle by decision and make it a clean sweep.
Moving on to our last tournament bout for Road to UFC. 155, Dom Fan versus Sang-Uk Kim. The largest favorite on the Tapology for the Road to UFC tournament. Dom Fan, I'm going to be going with him. I honestly don't think that it's a coincidence whatsoever that the Road to UFC, which is predominantly Japanese, Chinese, Korean, for many years, has the first year where they introduce, a good majority of Australian and New Zealand fighters, and now they're in every tournament final. 125 and 135 has a Kiwi, and 145 and 155 both have an Australian fighting for the tournament. Don Marfan, Cezale, Lawrence Louis, and Aaron Tao. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think these guys know how to fight. There's there's more to fighting than just scrapping or knowing one martial art, and I think they attack it from all angles in Oceania. You know, you don't just become a striker, you don't just become a grappler, you become an MMA fighter. I think they're more like modeling the Volk archetype to turn these younger guys into what they would deem the best MMA fighter. I mean, Volk's pretty damn fucking good. We'll talk about him later. One of the most complete martial artists, and I think that's what they've been dedicating their game to. Looking at these guys, even if they are strikers, they can scramble a good bit. As much as I shit on Aaron Tao, and he is retarded, trust me, he did scramble with Elijah Smith, a much better, bigger guy. So, you know, all these guys know what to do. Or they know their way around an MMA cage. Looking at Don Marfan's opponent, Sang-Kok Kim, I'm gonna be honest. I know Rong Zhu ain't terrible, but if I'm looking at your record and you lost in the Road to UFC final against Rong Zhu, and you gave Rong Zhu another free pass into the UFC, that's your bad, bro. Every time I watch a Rong Zhu fight, I'm gonna blame you. And now if you win, I'm gonna blame you too for watching your fights. And honestly, I can't see anything that I can see about that's good about this guy. He seems like he goes for it. He's got finishes. But that Rong Zhu loss, and I get he's not that bad, but that's just enough for me to be like, all right, you lost to Rong Zhu. Amar Fan has two losses, and they're both to Quill and Salkilled. I can forgive that. You know, Don Marfan's young, uh, 25 compared to 32 for Uk Kim. And his nickname is Street Buddha, which I like. I think that, you know, has a ring to it. You know, Street Buddha scrapping it out with somebody. You know, I think people could get behind that. So I'm gonna go with Street Buddha. I'm gonna go by finish. Fuck it. Street Buddha by finish. He's gonna light motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna also agree with Alex here. I think I'm gonna go with the favorite here, the Street Buddha dude. Haven't really watched much of it. I'm sorry if I sound like a casual or if I sound retarded. I haven't paid any attention to the road to the UFC fights. I I don't know. I haven't really cared too much. Most of those guys don't really pan out, so why should I really pay too much attention to it? Uh, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Street Buddha by decision. Dom Marfan.
Yeah, I think we're gonna make it a clean sweep. I'm gonna go with Don Marfan as well. Um, you know, Koreans. I really do try to root for them in the UFC level and in MMA, but they do have tendencies to be kind of defensively vulnerable, if that makes any sense. Like especially in striking exchanges. Like typically they go for it, and that's what Don Marfan's opponent here is going to try to do. But the two losses to someone who I'm very high on is Sal Killed. I don't frown upon at all. The tournament championship, I think, even though he's the younger fighter, I think Don Marfan is ready for the moment. I think he's going to capitalize on it. Um, I'm torn between a TKO and a decision, but I'll go with a Don Marfan decision. Nothing much more to say. I think he's just the better fighter. So I'm going to go Don Marfan.
Yeah. Moving on to our next real first fight of the card between signed UFC fighters. And I know we don't know shit about the road to UFC. You try waking up at 5 a.m. and watching this bullshit. It's different for the UK guys when you got to wake up and watch like a fire main event pay per view. We're watching fucking Street Buddha versus Frogman. Like, come on. Like, these guys are mid tier, and we're trying to wake up for this. Fuck that. If you've ever sat through one of that shit is torture. It's like watching fucking fry. Road to
Get a
UFC
life, y'all fucking neck beards.
Contender Series is worth the watch, not Road to UFC. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. I've been bored every time I watched it. But moving into the first real UFC fight of the card, 145, Con Offley versus Yiza. Fucking nothing burger. I'm gonna be honest. There's nothing too much to talk about here. Con Offley has a grappling ability. He trains with Volk, and that's why everybody's like, "Oh, you know, he trains with Volk," but you know, he really is just a bummy featherweight that can grapple with mediocre hands. He tried to wade into the pocket against Myron Santos and got clipped. All thing considered, I don't think he's a terrible fighter. Whereas Yiza, I don't know exactly. I feel like he's definitely got the striking advantage. He's got an ability to grapple as well. Uh, I think I'm leaning Yiza here. I want to say he had a pretty close fight against Gabriel Santos on the feet, if I'm thinking of the right guy. I rate his striking. I rate his ability to stop takedowns. I definitely think if Con Offley can get time and keep him there, he'll win the fight pretty easily. I think I'm gonna go with Yiza here. I think I'm gonna trust him to do the damage on the feet and do a good enough job of sprawling takedowns. I've seen him on a sprawl multiple times in his career. I'm just imagining him sprawling some takedown in my head. I don't know against who. That's enough for me. I'm gonna go Yizza. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go TKO. I don't think Con Offley can take damage like that. I'm gonna say third round after just him trying to scrap Offley. Not super technical, just landing power shots.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Yiza as well. Con Offley's fucking ass. Um, no explanation about it. Pretty much a stale fight too. So nothing. Like I said, nothing really to say about this. I'll go with a second round finish for Yiza. I think he could just piece him up and do whatever he wants. Like I said, Con Offley is just horrible.
Tough fight in the featherweight division between both these guys. Con Hopefully, I don't think he's bad. I think he's well rounded. I think he's losing to guys like Naimov and Myron Santos. The Myron Santos loss, I'm not mad at. The Naimov one isn't that great. He doesn't really seem to have a like not even physicality, but just any real danger to his style. Like there's no submission threat, there's no KO threat. His pressure and volume isn't enough to overwhelm you. It just kind of seems that he's kind of like one of these guys who knows how to fight in decision based scenarios. He had a good fight against Gabriel Santos. Um, I think Gabriel Santos is very good, so losing to him, I have no shame in that. I think Khan hopefully may have faced the better level of competition in his career, but Yiz is the younger guy and he has extensively more fights than him. I think Khan hopefully is like 32 and he's got 17 pro fights. Yiz is like 29 and he's got like 30 plus pro fights. I think I'll make it a clean sweep as well. I think I will go Yiza. I do think it's going to be a very competitive fight though, but I'll go Yiza by decision. I think there's just more of a danger with him on the feet than Khan Hopefully, and I feel like if Alex's take on him being able to sprawl takedowns comes into effect, I just feel like the judges are going to reward the guy who has more damaging intent, who's willing to go forward more. Khan Hopefully, I think I know for sure I picked him his last fight. I thought he was one of the best underdogs on that card against Ricardo Ramos. I thought that was easy. This presents more of a challenge to me though. Ricardo Ramos, I don't think he's UFC caliber. He lost to Santos, but there's no shame in that. I think he's a good featherweight, so I'm gonna go Yiza by decision, where you just value his damage more than Khan hopefully trying to control time and takedowns and things like that.
All right, moving on to our next fight of the card. Fight that's been rebooked. Something that's interesting in the welterweight division. Jonathan Mikulev versus Oban Elliott. I'm a little bit split how to feel on this fight. It was originally kind of split the first time this was booked, but I think I was leaning Oban. I didn't like the way Oban looked against, I want to say his name is Suk Young Ko. Suk Young Ko is actually pretty good. We've seen him be able to do that to other people besides just Oban. But I didn't expect Oban to get handled like that, and I kind of have something in my head about him. Like I can't see him the same way. At the same time, Jonathan Miklev outstruck a striker in his debut as a jiu-jitsu guy, and I faded him heavily to do so. Turns out that striker that I expected him to lose to was Kevin Jousset, and he sucks. Uh, I figured he was just, oh, Brian Battle's so good. He just lost to him, and Brian Battle ain't even here no more. Now to lose in the PFL to the Belgian bomber Habarora. I want to say Patrick Habarora. He's pretty good as well. Maybe just a downfall from Jousset. But I honestly can't really rate that win anymore for Mikolev. Been very inactive since. I think that's his only fight in the UFC. He's a very long pause, but he's got very long arms. He's 77-inch reach compared to Oban 72. I expect him to just look like the inflatable man with the arms going everywhere in this fight. Oh, it's sloppy looking striking, but it's effective. Oban Elliott sometimes wants to fight on the outside too much. I feel like he's best when he does press it a little bit. Oban likes to get in these pitter-pat striking battles. I don't like him doing that against somebody who has kicks and who has a significant reach advantage on him. I think I'm gonna go Jonathan Miklev by decision. I think if this is close, I could see it going that way as well. Just something I'm feeling about, like, the way Oban fights. He isn't aggressive enough. I don't think he's got the grappling to out-grapple Mikolev, the grappler. So I think this is going to be a predominantly striking fight. Mikolev was comfortable enough on the feet against Jusei. I think Mikolev at range is just going to be able to body kick the shit out of him and just keep his range and use his length. I'm going to go Jonathan Mikolev by decision.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with Alex. I got Jonathan Mikolev. I like Oban Elliott so much, but ah, fuck, man. He looked horrible. I know the Asian dude that he fought was really fucking good, but he got he got Epstein. Let's just face it. He got he. If you know, you know. But it was a horrible. It was horrible, and God witnessed it and all, and it's just an unfortunate performance. And I ain't gonna lie, I think we're gonna start seeing a decline from Oban unless if he fights somebody that's very shit. Man, this one does hurt because I am very high. I was very high at Oban once upon a time, but yeah, enough me yapping. I got Jonathan Mikolev. I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna get fucked. I think he's gonna fuck up Oban by decision.
Another tough fight in the welterweight division. Uh, Jonathan Mikolev, he's got good frame for the division, really good reach, 6 foot, 77 reach. He can grapple, he can kick. We saw that in the Kevin Jusei fight. Oban Elliott, he lost to Siak Hyun Ko, which at the time we frowned upon, but as we've seen Siak Hyun Ko's UFC career progress, I don't think there's anything to frown about. This is a guy who's won his last 15 consecutive rounds in a row. I think Siak Hyun Ko would beat Jonathan Mikolev as well. I think he's a very good prospect. Well, contender now. He's not ranked officially, but I think he's a very good guy to look out for in the welterweight division. But going back to this fight, I think Mikolev being Australian, you'd have to imagine that he'd have the crowds benefit of the doubt. They'll have more of them as a factor for when he does strikes or when he does anything at all. I think I'm not mad at Oban losing to him. I think Ko is really good. I think Mikolev's got good reach, good kicks, good grappling. Both guys have been knocked out before. Oban has been knocked out with someone who has similar physical intangibles to Jonathan Mikolev. He got knocked out by someone who's like 14-7, but like 6'2", 75 reach. Mikolev's like 6 foot, 77 reach. Um, but what's it called? Mikolev has also been knocked out by someone who's 6 foot tall as well. I think Oban's a better striker than Mikolev. I think his striking looked good against Jusei, but Jusei, I mean, man, he kind of like his stock dropped for me. And I'm not just saying that because I think he lost in PFL as well. But I don't know, like he just didn't really strike me as like a fighter per se. Like he kind of wanted to just be on the back foot. He didn't really ever be willing to go forward. I feel like if you're Oban Elliott, the game plan is going to be close the distance, take away the reach, but also stay at a range where you can kind of see the takedowns coming, where you can kind of get in and out with your boxing and use your hands, turn that reach advantage for Mikolev into a disadvantage. We can't coach our picks, we can't coach our bets, or things of that variety. It's a tough fight. And I can understand as to why Mike and Alex are going with Mikolev, but I actually am going to go with Oban Elliott. I think he's going to be able to close the distance, take away the reach of Mikolev, be aware of the takedown threat. I think his whole mentality is going to be sprawl and brawl. Be ready for takedowns, use the hands, bing, 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 2-3 piece in and out. Constantly kind of make Mikolev walk into shots, take away the kicking range, take away the jab, take away the straight punches. He's not old. He's 28. He's got more pro experience than Mikolev. Mikolev's 8-1. I want to say Oban's 12-3. I think it could be a very close fight. I'm gonna go with Oban Elliott by a close decision, but I think that his damage, his strikes are gonna be more valid than the potential cage riding and control time that Mikolev's gonna do after being frustrated on the feet. This fight to me is a matter of can Oban close the distance and can he defend takedowns? If he can do those two things, I think he wins the fight. But it should be a close one nonetheless. So I'm gonna go Oban by a close decision.
Moving on to our next fight of the card, middleweight between Jacob Malkoun and Torres Finney. This is interesting because you're looking at their records. Torres Finney 11-0 versus Jacob Malkoun 8-3. I'm picking the 8-3 guy. I'm picking Jacob Malkoun. And from what I've seen in his fights, I actually think he's a very good fighter. He does have a problem with getting clipped. He has a chin issue, in my opinion. Phil Hawes was able to pretty much put him out right away. Phil Hawes is honestly pretty good at striker, especially when he joined the UFC. He was pretty decent. His just chin got the better of him. Likewise, Jacob Malkoun. I'll be honest. There's an argument that he beat Brendan Allen in the grappling. If you rewatch that fight, he's a trained. I want to say he's the jiu-jitsu coach of Robert Whitaker. He's in the Whitaker camp. He's a very good grappler. He's a cardio maxer. Not very tall, but neither is Torres Finney. So this is actually going to be one of these things where Jacob Malkoun has that advantage. I feel like he's one of the dudes that doesn't lie about his height either. He says 5'9", and I feel like he never looks too much shorter than his opponents. Just kind of a little bit smaller. So I think a lot of his opponents are probably lying about their height, but Torres Finney sure as shit ain't. Torres Finney, not. I mean, if anything, he's 5'2". Like Torres Finney is as small as you get. And if you look at a silhouette of these guys, you're gonna look like, oh, Jacob Malkoun looks like he ate a large breakfast at Denny's versus Doris Finney, who looks like he's carved a stone in marble. That being said, Torres Finney has no pop in his shots. He doesn't strike. He Marab maxes, and he isn't even good enough to do that. On a grappling technical level, Malkoun is better. On a striking technical level, Malkoun is better. He's been in the game longer. He's fought better people. He's arguably beat better people. I mean, there's nobody Torres Finney could even hope to share the cage with that shares a candle to Brendan Allen. And I hate Brendan Allen, but he is a good fighter. And Jacob Malkoun had a great fight against him. Honestly, came down to who got on top in the beginning of the round. Jacob Malkoun, if he got on top in that third round, he would have won the fight, but he didn't. Allen did. Forrest Finney, he really has no ability to stay on top. I feel like he's just like a bowling ball that's just laying on your chest. You just gotta like push the weight off to your side and stand up. It's almost like when I see him, like he's just got to continue getting these takedowns. He's just like, it's not like a person's laying on you. It's like if you laid on your back and I put a bowling ball on your stomach and I told you to get up, you just kind of like, okay. I'm sure he's strong, but he's just not big. He's too damn fucking small. If anything, I think Torres Finney's lying about his height, and he's probably shorter than he is. 5'8" don't sound like it. I could see Jacob Malkoun looking like a much taller fighter. Like I said, just superiority technically everywhere. Grappling, striking. Not a big fan of Torres Finney's boring style. I think the UFC knows that, and I think they're going to give Malkoun a layup, who's a relatively big name in Australia, to knock out somebody they don't like and don't want in the sport because they've been making a trend of getting rid of these boring fucks. And I think right no, there ain't a more boring fuck than Finney, right? And he hasn't got himself to the position to stay. He ain't ranked. He hasn't had a good performance. He can go with one bad performance if it's a loss, and I think that's what they're trying to do. Don't be surprised if he gets cut after a loss. Jacob Malkoun, 30-27.
Man. Um, it's a great fight for Jacob Malkoun. Really is. I There's one thing that makes me nervous, and I kind of want to go with Torres Finney, mainly because I took a look at the UFC's takedown defense ratio. Jacob Malkoun's takedown defense ratio is 20%, and I think Torres Finney could take him down easily and just hold him. But man, I'm gonna go with Jacob Malkoun by just Volkov maxing. I think it's gonna look like the Almeida fight where, oh shit, Jacob Malkoun gets taken down by Torres Finney, but Torres Finney's just getting his ass whooped on damage. His face is gonna get fucked up or something like that, and elbows are probably gonna be inflicted. I could, man, I'm gonna be so mad if Torres Finney wins on how I think he's going to win, and I didn't predict it. But I'm going to go with Jacob Malkoun by decision. I think they're going to be like, oh, yeah, you probably got 13 minutes of control time, Torres Finney. But guess what? We're going to say, fuck you. Yeah, damage over control, bitch. Split decision, Jacob Malkoun. Oh, I'm going to be so mad if I get this wrong.
A fight in the middleweight division. Jacob Malkoon. I want to say this is his UFC return. No, this is his first fight back in the UFC. I think
He got cut.
he never got cut. Oh, he was just on a hiatus. Okay.
His last fight was March 2024 against Petrosky with the hip. He
Oh,
KO'd him
okay.
with it.
Yeah, he never got cut. It's just been a while.
Oh,
Yeah, Alex is right. He trains with Whitaker. He's got good grappling. He's the more well-rounded fighter, I would venture to say. Torres Finney, even though he has like the build of someone who has power, just doesn't seem to show up at least at a higher level. On the regional scene, he's undefeated. He was on the contender series, I want to say 3 times, and it took him like 3 times to get signed by the UFC despite winning. The Robert Valentin fight kind of tells you like his style isn't exactly damage conducive for him to be in a split decision scenario in a fight where he was on top for so long. It's reminiscent of like the Torres Finney style. To put it into terms, is it's like how Jalton Almeida fought Alexander Volkov. Like that is his style. Like just being on top of someone and nearly getting out, pretty much getting outstruck from bottom in total strike count, doing really nothing while on top. You would think with someone with that build would like have a ground and pound game, but at the higher level, it hasn't presented itself. Jacob Malkoon is favored in this fight. I think that is a bit telling. Despite Torres Finney being undefeated and having the momentum that he is the underdog. Um, at a UFC level, I do believe Jacob Malkoon has faced better competition. He had a close fight with Brendan Allen. He did get knocked out by Phil Hawes, but Nasruddin Imavov has a loss to Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes at one point wasn't a bad fighter. He's not a bad fighter, it's just he has a terrible chin. But Torres Finney, Mike brought up a great stat that is interesting. I didn't know that about Malkoun. I didn't know his takedown defense is that bad. So that kind of tells me that he's a bit more jujitsu than wrestling. I don't know if that is going to work in this type of fight with someone who's deliberately trying to be on top of you for a mass majority of the fight. So, logic I think does say to go with Jacob Malkoun because of who he trains with, the experience that he has, and the more well-roundedness. I think it does say to do that. Not to mention we are in Australia. Um, I just don't think Torres Finney's grappling is that decisive. If he's getting into a split decision with a guy like Valentin, I mean, I'd like to think Malkoun has better grappling awareness than that. It's a tough fight, but I do think this fight goes the distance. And if it goes the distance, I don't know. Like Torres Finney is a contender series product. Like I could see a split. I could hear what Mike was talking about. I could definitely see where that close decision type fight. Torres Finney don't really got to win. That's respectable. This kind of would be one if he could get his hand raised against Malkoun. Like that is a UFC veteran, and I kind of see what he's saying. So now, to me, this fight comes down to can Malkoun do enough on the feet where if Torres Finney is just riding him for on top for as long as he is it going to be enough to steal the fight? Man, this is tough. I feel like I've talked about this fight more than I should have, but I do think it is kind of that close. I want to go Malkoun, but I'm really going to pick Torres Finney. Oh. He don't got hands like Phil Hawes though. He can't knock him out. He's going to probably stay on top. Probably go for sub threat. Fuck it. I'm gonna go Torres Finney in a close decision where he just is on top of Jacob Malkoun for more of the fight. And the damage isn't visible enough. Torres Finney's like he's getting hit, but he's not bleeding. He's just kind of tanking through and just getting on top of Malkoun, and like his total strikes just simply were a little bit more than Malkoun's, and it's enough for hey, he was on top the entire fight, bro. What do you want me to do? Yeah, I see Mike's fear, and I'm going with it. I'm gonna go Torres Finney by a close decision win.
I went
fuck.
I went with Jacob Malkoun, but yeah. I'm gonna
Malkoun's
lose.
not bad. He's not a bad
Cannot
fighter.
hold people down though. Let's be real. He cannot hold people down.
He can't. But 20% takedown defense, that's shit.
That's
I don't know.
horrible.
For
That
that.
tells and if he's a jujitsu guy, that tells
You know
me
what? You know
he's
what?
gonna be cool with being on bottom. And if he's
You know
cool
what?
with being
He's a
on
top jujitsu guy. He's like a wrestler jujitsu guy. He's like a Whitaker archetype. Like he wants to be on top. He's a top fighter. Okay.
bottom,
That is a terrible stat, that 20% takedown defense. I had no idea of that, but
I didn't think it was
he
that
always
bad.
he out scrambles his opponents. Maybe Petrosky took him down, but it always looks like he dominates his opponents.
And it's gonna be hard to take down Finney. He's a small ball of muscle. Like that's not gonna be easy to take down.
But Finney has a hard time taking down people normally. Like he had a hard time taking
Yeah.
down Robert Valentin. Robert Valentin ain't half the grappler that, Malkun is.
He's not, but I think he's more dangerous when like just strikes in general.
That's true, but like his takedown defense, it's got to be worse, right?
I think it's
Valentin's.
got to be same. If it's how bad could you be less than 20? If you less than
Actually,
20, I mean,
I
Oh,
try to look that I try to look that up, that takedown defense ratio up. It doesn't show. I don't think he's been taken down before.
I think
might
I
have been.
think Malkoon's a good fighter, but it's gonna be like a close decision type fight. I could so feel it.
Check
I
yeah, I tried to check on UFC.com for that. It doesn't show a UFC. It doesn't show his takedown defense.
Like even though Malkoon's the home fighter, I feel like he's got to be the one that separates more than Finney.
I hear you, but I don't think they want to promote Finney. They got a million contender series guys, and
That's true.
99% of them don't hold people up against the fence. You got
True.
guys like that Spanish dude who put it on the line every time. You got
Yeah.
losers in the contender series you'd rather have, like that Max and Lee freak that's like 6'3" at bantamweight.
I just feel
I could
like
do
to
a
punish
fight.
his style, you got to do damage, and I don't think Malkoon on the feet, even if he is technically better, is gonna do that much crazy damage.
He's gonna try to grapple back.
Right, and if that's the case, now to me, it's gonna be just like the Brendan Allen fight. Who was on top in the round? And I feel like Finney's gonna get it.
But Brennan Allen's able to hold people down. We see that.
Is
I mean,
is
he's
is
like that. Finney ain't.
yeah.
But yeah, this is a definitely one of the closer picks on the card.
I
Should
really
debate
want I
more often.
really wanna pick I really wanna pick Torres Finney. I really do. I
I hear
might
you. It's not a terrible pick. I just
If
I
he
don't know.
wasn't undefeated, I wouldn't do it. That's why I'm doing it.
I don't think
No,
I don't think it's gonna
I
be
know.
like that. I don't think it's because he's undefeated though. I just think this dude. I think Malkoon's takedown defense is shit. If this is the true ratio of takedown defense he has. If you don't believe me, just look up Jacob Malkoon on UFC.com. It will show the takedown defense.
I mean,
Yeah.
what is Finney's offense? Like, how many takedowns is he getting?
Oh, it's probably gotta be high. I feel like he's gotten every takedown he wanted in the UFC.
Got 8 out of 17. Control time. Control time's not bad either.
He has a
4 minutes each.
60% takedown
That was on the
accuracy.
fence. A lot of that was on the fence.
He
Yeah.
has
It's gonna be that type of fight. We've talked about this fight way more than we should. Let's just move on to the next fight.
yeah.
Facts. Moving on to the next fight.
It's gonna be a
Cam
boring ass fight. We shouldn't even be talking about
Ross.
it.
I mean, shit. There's the nitty gritty details, man.
Nah, for sure, for sure. It's
I
gonna be a
will
good
say
Gotta
one.
I'm gonna
debate,
lose my shit if I get this incorrect.
gotta debate more about picks. I think, like after we all talk
I'm
about
cool
it,
with that. I'm
something to
down to
say.
debate more. I'm down. We can definitely
But
do it.
next fight, Cam Ralston versus Cody Brundage. We're talking about all these grapplers. If you're going to be a good grappler in the UFC, I think you need to do two things, right? You need to be able to hold people down and do what you need to do on top. And if you can't do that, you got to be like Torres Finney or Marab and get a shitload of takedowns, just as many as you can, and just cheese them. Cody Brundage can't do either. Right? He can't get control time and do damage on top, and he doesn't have the cardio to run the pipe and Colby Covington max and get a bunch of single legs and double legs where he gets you back up and right back down. A lot of the time, Cody Brundage wants to tard max. He wants to just swing big bombs. And I'm gonna be honest, if you're like making a war out of a fight against Julian Marquez, who's like half and half, 1 foot out the UFC, 1 foot in the UFC, all the way, both feet into the bottle, and alcoholic. You can see it in his face. You can see it in his stomach. Man, I'm sure there's guys outside of the local strip club and bar that were knocking out Julian Marquez. And like you had to take him to the second round in a slugfest. This is a guy, Cody Brundage, who's just straight up not built to be a fighter. He's a bitch. Out of all the guys you think of when I say, oh, he like milked to DQ, I mean, there's bigger names that have done it, like Aljamain Sterling, but nobody's done it as much. Cody Brundage. I feel like it's just good odds to fucking bet Cody Brundage to win by DQ half the time because that's going to be the way he tries to win. He tried to do it against Monster Abdul Malik. I want to say that even did get overturned. But Cody Brundage has been on some shit. Like I don't know if he has on Dana or whatever, but he's a shitty fighter that snaps his losing streaks with disqualification wins and stays in the UFC. Cam Rouston, although I've seen him get out wrestled by Torres Finney, and that hurts me, and it's a visual in my mind that I will not soon forget. And I still picked him to beat Petrosky in his debut. I saw some flickers of hope. I think he does a good job of keeping range. He's got good power, despite him being a taller, skinnier guy for the weight class. He is big. He seems like he's gotten better with the takedown defense since the Finney fight. I'm going to trust him here against, my opinion, just kind of a shitty fighter. I think Cam Rouston's got potential. He's trains with a good team. He's got good striking. He's got good kicks. He's got power in his hands, despite him not really looking like he does. Cody Brundage just has no ability on the feet, and he wants to fight there too often, and he's not good enough at grappling to keep it there. So I got to go Cam Rouston. I think that's a similar fate that Petrosky had. He's not good enough to grappling to really keep people where he wants them to, and he got chinned for his efforts. I'm gonna say first round KO Cam Rouston sets down on like a step in jab or a 1-2 or something like that and gets him out of there by TKO first round. Cam Rouston.
That's what's gonna happen to Cody Brundage, bro. There's nothing that I need to even mention here. Cody Brundage is gonna be treated like a preacher boy against a priest on a Sunday night in a Catholic church. That's what I'm gonna say right there. He's gonna take his belt off, and bro's gonna take his belt. Cam Rouston's gonna take his belt off here. He's gonna be like, "Come here, bitch, 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 bitch." It's gonna be in the first round too. He's gonna come here, come here, come here, come here. Qualify what? Let's qualify what, bitch? Let's qualify what? He's gonna start whacking him with his belt while Cody Brundage is just running away, running away. Oh, please, no, don't molest me. Oh, nah, come here, bitch, bitch. He just start whacking him with his belt. But anyways, I think I think I've ranted far too long about this fight. I just don't like Cody Brundage. I fucking hate this dude. He just DQ maxes the whole time, and that's just weak. I hate him. I really do. And Cam Rouston, I hope you pull it off. I did so much of this this energy just to confidently say you will win in the first round. Uh, but yeah, I think I've ranted far too long. First round knockout, belt to ass season.
Good fight here in the middleweight division. Cody Brundage, man, he is the Michael Jordan of manifestation of disqualifications. He manifests, he creates escape routes in fights like I've never seen before. He's a magician. He's an artist of that. He truly is. In fights that he's getting his ass whooped, he just finds a way out where many like get like they just they it's like they run into a wall, he runs through it. Nah, he headbutted me. This is a no contest. I didn't lose. He cheat. He should be DQ'd. Fucking, he knows how to find these. If you think Sterling, like Jan, was worthy of that, like Cody Brundage is at another level. But no, like, all seriousness aside, um, he's a UFC level that many are not very fond of. Obviously, aside from his manifestation of disqualifications, he's an okay wrestler. He got out grappled by Dumas. Um, Alex said it perfectly. For someone with the NCAA wrestling background, he swings and brawls way too much than you'd like him to, like strategically. But from an entertainment standpoint, I think Brundage has delivered and more, exceeded expectations in his UFC career. We shouldn't even be talking about this guy, like we shouldn't, but he's noteworthy enough. So I give him respect on that for making a way for his name to be recited. But Cam Rouston, I do like what I've seen from him. He is quote unquote the most well-rounded fighter at City Kickboxing. He's like probably one of their better grapplers. I think he's one of the better representations of Australian MMA in the bigger weight classes. Um, he is not like the biggest middleweight, like weight wise, but he's got deceptive power. I like his striking. He looked really good in the Contender Series. He lost to Torres Finney on another contender series, but in his return, he was the underdog and he looked really good on the feet against a guy who was pretty much projected to knock him out. And then in his UFC debut, I picked him. I think he was an underdog against Petrosky, and yeah, he exceeded expectations there too. Brundage, he's too wild for his own good. He loses more than he wins, but he wins by DQ, so it's crazy how he does that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna follow Alex and Mike on this one. I think I'm gonna go first round TKO Cam Rouston. I like his I like his game. I think he's well rounded. I think he's got good hands. He can grapple. He's not small. Yeah, Cam Rouston first round TKO. I think he beats Brundage faster than Mansour Abdul Malik did.
Moving on to our next fight of the card. Some dog shit. And this is the prelim headliner. Junior Tafa versus Billy Alicana, prelim headliner, Paramount card, UFC. What are we doing, gang? What are we doing? Why? Why? The fuck? Like, you couldn't make it Miklev Oban? That's the fucking second actual UFC fight on the card. Oh. Uh, Junior Tafa, he's a guy that really grinds my gears. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like if I was a stove pot right now filled with water, somebody just put me on a simmer. I'm starting to get a little fucking pissed. Just looking at him. He's a heavyweight that went down to light heavyweight. Why in particular it's personal for me and why I'm pissed. Debuted on short notice against Mo Usman, and this was kind of when people thought Mo Usman might be something. Junior Tafa's hands looked pretty fast, and he put together combos for a heavyweight, which is fucking crazy. And I was like, you know what? This Junior Tafa guy, he's better than his brother. He's gonna, even though he lost a shitty decision to Usman, he's gonna get some wins in the UFC. He's not gotten wins in the UFC. I think he got one against Sean Klimico, who got fucked up by Steven Asplin, and I want to say that's it. I want to say that's it. He's 6-4. He has a terrible record. Sean Sharaf, that's his name. I got the dude's name wrong. I don't even know who Sean Klimico is. And he beat Parker Porter. But getting leg kick TKO'd by Marcos Rogerio de Lima is where it ended. Right? And as a kickboxer, you can't get your legs chopped off by a fat ogre from Florida. He's a grappler with some hands. He shouldn't be leg kicking you. Like, what is he? You're making him look like Aldo. It's Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Come on. And Junior Tafa just doesn't know how to check him. And I was so hyped for that fight, weirdly, because it was supposed to be his brother Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa, too fat to make the weigh-ins at heavyweights. So they bring in his fucking brother on short notice, who wasn't even preparing. I'm like, this guy, he's better than his brother. He's gonna win. I made him a piece of a parlay. That parlay shit the bed. Now I hate this motherfucker. Junior Tafa sucks. Alicana's gonna get him down and sub him in one. That's it. That's all I have to add.
Yeah,
Junior
I
Tafa.
don't really got to add much. This fight is fucking ass. Junior Tafa's horrible too. I will agree with that. Like there ain't really else to say. I got Billy Elkana by submission here, first round sub.
Yeah, this card is full of Australian talent, obviously, as we know. The fight being in Australia, some guys are gonna win, some guys are gonna lose. This is the prelim headliner. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna go Billy Elikana as well. I just think Tafa's both the Tafas kind of have the same problem for me. They're not well rounded. Like they can't defend leg kicks, they can't defend takedowns. They only really use their hands. Like if you could just avoid their power shots, I feel like you kind of beat them. Billy Elikana is a better athlete. The Bogdan Guskov fight, it was on short notice. It was his debut. It was a tough, matchup for him. He showed glimpses of having a chance, but ultimately got finished. I think Bogdan's not a bad light heavyweight. I'm not mad at that loss. I'll go Billy Elikana by submission as well. Um, Yeah, I'll go first round too. I feel like so if he just gets him down, like the speed, the athleticism should be Elikana, and I feel like he'll just get to the submission position before Hoffa will be able to do any like form of defense at all. So Billy Elikana, first round sub. He's just a better athlete, better fighter.
Yeah, Tava has no ability to grapple. Didn't talk about that much, but he
Both
sucks.
toppers.
Both of them, yes. And
If you can
Elikana's
hold the
got in the
hands, you
back of
win.
on the back of Bogdan. Bogdan's a good fighter. Getting his back and more or less holding it for the end of the first round is pretty good. But moving on to the first fight of the main card, Quillen Salkeld versus Jamie Malarkey. Yeah, the Australian Drew Dober comes back. I bring up Drew Dober because they both have a history of fighting certain types of opponents, and they had win streaks against those certain type of opponents until Drew Dober faced Matt Frivola, who didn't deserve the spot against him. Who was coming off of wins against bum opponents, similar to Jamie Malarkey. A fellow American, we could say, but they had more in common than just that. And Drew Dober, it seems like, let him win. He let his brother get over. I worry about that with Salkeld, man. Maybe the switch got turned off. I don't know. But in all seriousness, I have to pick Quillen Salkeld to win. Malarkey sucks. He's always sucked, and he will continue to suck. Jamie Malarkey's flatline KO'd way better people than Jamie Malarkey. And I expect him to do no different here. I want to say I picked Nasrat to beat him, and thought Nasrat would have the striking advantage. And Salkeld flatlines him in one. I like this kid. I think he's good. He's just got to not let opponents like this beat him. He's got to make a statement here. This is a dog shit opponent. You've beaten better opponents easier. You have to just smoke Malarkey. No, I don't care if you met him in the gym, if you're friendly with him. You guys are both Australian. I don't give a fuck. Head kick, first round, jump on top, Dan Henderson elbows. I want you to try to end this man's fucking life in there. Honestly, like this is the type of fight you have to do. Like when Mauricio Rufy gets a bum, he fucking spinning wheel kicks him out cold, brutally. That's what Quillen Salkeld has to do to somebody like this. He has to make himself undeniable to get a ranked spot. When you get a bum, you treat him like a bum. First round KO, head kick, flying knee, something brutal, within 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Alex. I got Quinlan Salkeld. I think Jamie Malarkey's dog shit, and I think Quinlan Salkeld is fucking phenomenal, dude. I love watching this dude fight. He's entertaining, first off. Second of all, strikes his striking is phenomenal. He put who's that Palestinian motherfucker? What's his name? Nasrat Hakparast. I don't know if he's Palestinian or not, but he put belt to ass on Nasrat Hakparast. He knocked his ass out. Uh but anyways, I shouldn't even be going on about this. This is gonna be a sanctioned murder. I think Jamie Malarkey shit. I think this is gonna be a first minute knockout, first round minute or two knockout for Quinlan Salkeld, and that'll be done. That'll be enough of my yapping.
Yeah, this is my lock of the card. I think Quinlan Salkill can win any way he wants. I think he can get a knockout. I think he can get a submission. I think he can win a decision. I think he can win any way he wants. Jamie Malarkey had a good upset win against Rolando Bedoya. I want to say it was his last fight. Let me double check that. I think that's right. I want to say I'm pretty sure that's correct. Like fought Bedoya's last fight. Yeah. Um, I will say Malarkey's fought, pretty capable guys in the UFC, guys that are dangerous, and he's lost a lot of them. Salkill, though, I just think he's one of these new era guys that can do like everything. I think he can grapple. I think his pace is good. We now know that he has knockout capability, given his last fight against Hakparast. He has good frame for 155, not a small guy, 6 feet tall. Um, he can kick, he can box, he's shown knockouts with his hands and his kicks. I think he's just super well rounded and he can do literally anything. Um, Malarkey, he's got 6 knockout losses. He's never been submitted. I could see either one occurring here. I think Salkid's the biggest favorite on like the card. I think he shows up. I think he performs in Australia. I'm just torn as to whether it's a knockout or a submission. I think either is live. It could be a head kick, it could be a punch, it could be a submission. I think any of those three is what happens. I low key kind of want to say he could be the first guy to sub him. I could see a club and sub where he just like hurts Malarkey and then takes his back and chokes him. I think that's what I will go with. I could definitely see a knockout, but for the sake of being different, I think he'll hurt Malarkey and flurry on him. Yeah, that's tough because I could see him like crumbling off that and they just call the fight and just say it's EKO, or I could see him taking his back and subbing him. I could see either one happening. I want to go sub, but fuck it, I'll go knockout. I'll go late first round knockout. Late first round knockout.
Another clean sweep. The Prince of Pakistan, Quillen Cell killed versus V Malarkey. And moving on to our next fight on the card. Taco Bell tied to Ivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira. I sound like I'm having a stroke. Uh, no, you know what? Remember how I mentioned that boiling pot earlier? That shit's on a boil now, looking at this fat cunt on my fucking screen. But you want to know what? I'm not as angry as I could be. You want to know why? I recently subscribed to his Instagram page. I didn't know I wasn't before, but I did, and I noticed, he doesn't look as round as he used to. He looks a little bit, he's still fat, but he's more along the lines of like the Ty we knew when he was getting the wins, shape wise. He didn't look too fat. He didn't look too greasy. Looked didn't look obese. He looked overweight, which I think is, going from obese to overweight's better. He's a big Samoan dude. I expect him to carry some weight. Tai Tuivasa shows up relatively in good shape. Derek Lewis showed up in good shape and he beat this guy. And we saw Derek Lewis show up against fucking Waldo. Although Waldo's better, he showed up fat, told us he was in shape, and he got smoked. Tai Tuivasa shows up in relatively good shape, and I don't get any red flags throughout the entire press conference and all this whole fight week. And I'm like, and I still maintain this, he doesn't look as fat mentality. I'm going to pick him to fucking win. I'm going to pick Tai Tuivasa to win this fight. I actually think Taliesin Teixeira, despite being big, the thing is about these tall, big guys, and it goes for every weight class, usually pretty frail. If you can connect on that chin, you can usually put him out. As a scrapper, and he's able to get into the pocket if he wants to. The old Ty would be able to get into the pocket and land a shot and shin this guy. Now, hard to pick him because he has not looked like the Ty of old. If he comes in with some level of shape, I think can win. He's on a 5-fight losing streak. If he loses again, this is surely his job. I can't really see Tai Tuivasa being a person without fighting. I think he's somebody that fighting is who he is. I know he has business adventures and stuff outside with his whole beer and Drink West and all that. I think he's a guy that wants to fight. I think he knows this is his last shot. This dude put down the Taco Bell and lose a little weight gives me a little bit of confidence. I think Taliesin Teixeira is there to be leg kicked as well. A big weapon from Ty. I think Ty can do damage to the leg and eventually move in for that kill shot. I'm definitely reaching a bit here, but I do think come Friday or Saturday morning, and I haven't seen Taco Bell in Tai Tuivasa's locker room. I haven't seen him gain any other weight. I haven't seen anything that's put me off. Right now, I ain't put off. And I'm going to stick with Tai Tuivasa. It is prone to change. As of right now, I got Tai Tuivasa working the calf kick and eventually getting range and shinning Taliesin Teixeira. Into the first round, Tai Tuivasa KO snaps the winning streak. And just if it does go the distance, which would be a terrible look for Teixeira, he tried to rob Arsenio Rosenstrike of the decision against Ty. That was as clear as 30-27 could be, and they wanted him to win. They gave him a card. They gave him a 29-28 tie. They want Ty to win. They want that market still. Ty's an entertaining guy. They're shoeies. They like that. Even if this goes the distance, I could see him robbing it for him. I'm going to go Tai Tuivasa first round KO.
I kind of get where Alex is going, but I'm not going to go the delusional route here. I'm going to pick Taliesin Teixeira. I'm not calling Alex delusional. It's a very good pick. but I can't pick this motherfucker Tai Tuivasa to save my life. Honestly, here's the thing. I tr- I trust picking Tai Tuivasa as far as I can throw him, and that's not gonna be that easy. So I can't, man. I can't. If he does come in shape, I will be interesting. Maybe I might switch my pick here, but can't fucking pick him, man. He takes so much damage, and I know, I really do know that Taliesin Teixeira got knocked out by Derek Lewis, but I think it's just Derek Lewis hits fucking hard, dude. And I know it's crazy to say because Derek Lewis got knocked out by Tai Tuivasa, but I don't know, man. I think we're out of the Thai era or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Uh, he don't really look that motivated anymore to fight. He just looks like he wants to sell his weed brand or shoey brand. I don't know what the fuck he's been doing lately, but I know he's got his own business market. And it's kind of hard for me to pick a dude that would rather just smoke weed, eat, drink shoeys, and fucking do all this. But I get it. He lost the weight, and I heard. I don't know though. I gotta go with Taliesin Teixeira, man. I think he's gonna knock him out. I'll go with the first round knockout. I think he's gonna put him down dirty. But if he is in very good shape, like how Alex mentioned, I'm not. I know Alex didn't say he's in like this. Oh my gosh, he lost all the fat. Like no, he's saying he's still
Normal,
fat, but
normal.
yeah, he's still fat, but he's not like obese like how we saw him at the press conference laughing like a whale.
He's not 400 pounds.
Jesus Christ. Um,
Pick is prone to change. If he shows up fat at one point and I get that feeling, I'm switching immediately.
I just feel like he's gonna get knocked out. He just looks like to me he's gonna get put down badly, and I could see Paramount posting, "Oh my gosh, Taliesin Teixeira just got a fucking body." I can just so see. I could just see the rolls of Tai Tuivasa moving with one of those body kicks or punch. I could just so see his ass get punched badly. I love Ty, I really do, but fuck me, it's funny when he gets punched. Tony, go before I start laughing. But yeah, I got Taliesin Teixeira first round knockout. I'm sorry, Ty.
Tough fight. Well, not really tough fight. It's really predicated on what kind of Tuivasa do we get physically. Because lately he hasn't really looked like he's came in the best shape, and that's saying something a heavyweight. Taliesin Teixeira, he lost his last fight to Derek Lewis. It was a massive step up in competition from his debut to from his debut against Tafa to a main event against Derek Lewis. That was quite the jump. Um, it was just off his sheer physical like intangibles and his record that I feel like a lot of people were hyped up on him. I bought the hype. I thought he was going to beat Derek Lewis. He ended up getting it knocked out in the first round. That loss hasn't really aged well over the weekend with Waldo Cortez Acosta being able to do what he did to Derek Lewis. That's just a testament to how good Waldo is. Tuivasa, you look at his losses, they're all pretty comp. Like all 8 losses are all UFC caliber. Khan, um, Volkov, Pavlovich, um, just like literally all of his losses are UFC level. I think this fight is based on what Alex said. What kind of shape does Ty come in? Because the Thai of old would be able to use the calf kick, which I think someone with like a tall kind of frame like Teixeira that would like really impact the power in their footwork. I picked Teixeira against Lewis, and it's not aging well that loss. Tuivasa beat Lewis. He was able to get in the clinch, close the distance, and kind of have him on the back foot. It's really based on that. Can Ty absorb enough shots to close the distance and land a big punch, and then kind of tee off on Teixeira and take away his 8-inch reach advantage? If Teixeira is able to keep his range throughout the fight, I don't see why for 15 minutes he couldn't. Well, it's heavyweight. They're both probably not going to make it to 15 minutes, but I don't see why he couldn't just stay on the outside and just point fight him and use kicks like Mike's saying to the body, to the head. Teixeira has a nice head kick. For a heavyweight, he has a very quick head kick. Um yeah, this fight for me is, can Ty use the leg kicks? Can he close the distance? Can he land a big shot? It's really tough to say. The Rosenstrike fight was weird. They didn't really do anything. I feel like Teixeira not the type to try to go to a decision. I feel like he's always looking for like a highlight finish, so I do believe he'll go forward. And I trust in Ty to get a counter punch. I don't really know. I think I'm gonna go with Mike here. I think I will go Taliesin Teixeira. I just think he's the better athlete. Um, just has more long range attacks. That's what I think this fight really comes down to. Just if Ty is able to close distance. If he's not, I feel like he'll get lit up with kicks. And usually the clinch is really good for Ty. That's where he was able to like pretty much KO Lewis. But I think Teixeira's got a good clinch to the knees, elbows off the break. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go Taliesin Teixeira. I'll go by. When did Gon knock out Tuivasa? What round was that?
Second or third.
Say the beginning of the third.
Beginning of the third.
That one was.
I'll go second round TKO Taliesin Teixeira. I'll give a round of respect to Ty because I think he is a tough guy. But I think like in the first round, Teixeira isn't gonna do what he did last fight. I don't think he's just gonna blitz forward like he did against Derek Lewis. I think he will have a more measured approach. I feel like he'll just want to get kicks on the outside, to the body, to the head, kind of investment shots on Tuivasa, and he'll kind of just make Tuivasa have to be the guy to close the distance and pay for it. I could even see Tuivasa landing a big shot in that first round, but I think Teixeira is just quick enough to exit. Then I think we make it to the end of the bell. Tuivasa feels like it's a close round, but may have lost it, so he feels like he needs to go forward and press. And then I think Teixeira is just gonna make him pay for it. I could see like a knee to the body or like a head kick. I think one of those two strikes is going to be big in this fight. So I'm going to go Taliesin Teixeira second round TKO.
Right, moving on to our feature fight of the card. Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy. I'm gonna go with Rafael Fiziev here. To be honest, I think Benoit's good, but I don't think he's that good. Mauricio Rufy got power. He's kind of like a one-shot maxer. He doesn't put combos together very well. While he definitely does have the advantage, I would say, with the hands in this fight, Rufy does. He really doesn't throw a lot of combos. Usually it's 1-2 or it's 2-3, something like that. He likes kicking a lot. Fiziev, I think, is the superior kicker in this fight. I think he's good with the output of the kicks. He's good at like leaving the pocket and ending it with a kick on the end that you don't see just to score points. If this becomes a point scoring fight, Fiziev wins. I think he'll score more points. I think Rufy has to win by KO. I do think Fiziev is chinnable if you hit him with the right shot. He's been dropped by guys like by Gaethje. Rufy, I do think has power, but I worry about him just because I feel like he doesn't throw enough punches. When he does get people lined up, it's usually, like I said, just a 1-2 or a 2. And he looks for the big shots. You know, he isn't in it, I feel like, for 30-27 masterclass. He's in it for a Connor style first round KO. You know, I think that Connor shit's gotten a little bit to his head. I think he's like the most obvious Connor knockoff we've ever seen. Just the way he tries to fight, the way he like talks about Connor all the time. Like his entire persona is based off of trying to be Connor, more or less. And one, I think that's cringe, but two, you're kind of missing the point with Connor because Connor had things that he really can't buy, and that's why Connor was so good. He had the mic skills and he had the timing and just the precision. I don't think Rufy has the precision or the timing or the power like McGregor. I think McGregor is different. McGregor's McGregor. You know, Rufy's Rufy at the end of the day. I think, you know, as good as Connor was, he did have downsides with his wrestling and his cardio, and it seems like Rufy has those downsides as well without the upsides that Connor had. I just feel like Rufy is just like the great value version. You know, you go to Costco or Target or something, and there's two things sitting on the shelf, and they look similar, but they're not. You know, this is some great value shit in my opinion from Rufy. Whereas Fiziev, I feel like although he's not good, He is kind of his own style. He's great at scoring with the kicks. He's great at attacking all dimensions of the body with the kicks. And despite me thinking Rufy is the better boxer with the better hands, Fiziev is in close. He'll let it rip. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll let it rip. Like he'll pop off a couple combos. I like that when scoring against a guy like Rufy, who isn't going to really be throwing too much. And the grappling, I definitely think Fiziev taking down Gaethje and kind of putting him in an inverted triangle position. Although Gaethje's grappling isn't like that, I do think Fiziev could maybe do something similar to Rufy. And if he's gonna be going to the takedowns against Gaethje, I've got no reason in my mind why I don't think Fiziev wouldn't go to the grappling against Rufy. So I'm gonna go Fiziev. I'm gonna say 30-27, 29-28. Maybe Rufy can get around with a big shot that he lands. I think Fiziev will win by decision, just keeping a bigger output and honestly being the more well-rounded, more experienced guy.
Tough fight. Very tough fight to predict. Um, I really do. I could see myself picking Rufy, but honestly, I'm gonna stick with my Fiziev pick. I think Fiziev is better. He's the better improved fighter, and I'll tell you why I think he's improved. Uh, his grappling has massively improved. He shot takedowns against Gaethje. I didn't expect that. He grappled against what's his name? Who was his last fight?
Benoit for Rufy or
No,
Ignacio?
Bahamondes.
Ignacio Bahamondes. Yeah, he wrestled against him, and I rate that mainly because Bahamondes. Y- I thought on paper Bahamondes would be the better grappler against Fiziev, but it turned out to be Fiziev, who is a striker. I know Bahamondes is a striker too, but he has a very good jiu-jitsu. He was subbing people too, but he's Fiziev. I think Fiziev is gonna wrestle in this fight too. I think he's gonna fraud check Rufy here. I know I'm already 0. Well, technically you could say I'm 0-1 this year against picking against a fighting nerd, but Rufy's no longer there, so don't really count if I get it wrong. Uh, man, I'll go with a 29-28 decision. I think it will be a competitive decision. Uh, I think it clearly should go to Fiziev in the decision, but then they're going to be like a random 29-28 Rufy for some reason. I think it's going to be a random split decision win for Fiziev. I think he's going to use the grappling when he needs to, and I think he'll chop off the legs, pressure, and I think he's gonna win this fight. I'll go with a split decision, Rafael Fiziev.
A great fight in the lightweight division. I think Fiziev is a very high level striker. He has some of the best kicks, like definitely like best kicks like in the division. Honestly, like if not top three for sure. He's a great striker. He's gone toe to toe with top tier lightweights in the world. Um, I would venture to say up to this point for sure he's faced a better level of competition at the UFC. He's more battle tested. He's more proven. Rufy coming off his first UFC loss. This is kind of like a crossroads type of fight where we kind of find out what type of fighter is Rufy. Is he the type to go on a losing streak or is he the type to bounce back? I think Fiziev is very good, coming off a good win against Bahamondes, who I think is also a very high level striker at 155. I think BSD was smart to grapple against Rufy, exploit that facet of his game. I could see Fiziev shooting takedowns in close rounds if he needs to get top time. I could see something along those lines happening, but I do feel like rewatching the tape on that, Rufy's got to look back and think, all right, I have to work on my grappling. I have to fix some things. Allegedly, he's left the fighting nerds, and to my knowledge, I think he's training with Alexander Volkanovski, and I think they're both perfect training partners for the guys they're fighting against. I think Rufy, he doesn't fight exactly like Diego Lopes, but a lot of power shots with the hands. I think Rufy can simulate that in sparring and training. And I think Volkanovski, out of all the styles that he could train with. I think it's similar to Rafael Fiziev. I think Fiziev's better with the kicks overall, but the footwork oriented style, not heavy boxing combinations. I do think, like Alex said, Fiziev rips more combos than Volk. He's more 1, 2, 3. Um, a Volk overall movement kicking style. I think that's not a bad guy to train with to get ready for Fiziev. And I do think he's also good to help him with grappling defense. I think Volkanovski has a good understanding of takedown defense. But I don't think Fiziev's. I see that being like a small wrinkle in the game plan. This fight 100% is going to be a striking match. And kicks, I will give the advantage to Fiziev, but I don't think the gap is as significant as people are making it out to be. Let's not forget, I do understand it was an older Bobby Green, but Bobby Green had a really good fight against Rafael Fiziev where Mauricio Rufy heel kicked him into the stands. He can kick too. And I think training with a guy like Volk is going to re-inspire creativity in the striking with the kicks. I think his boxing needs more work, especially with his lead hand. A lot we saw that in the Benoit Saint Denis fight. A lot of his he goes for the kill shot. A lot of the power shots is his rear hand. He needs to put more work with his jab, and I think training with Volk, all of those striking kind of deficiencies are going to improve. I think his footwork's going to get better. I think his takedown defense is going to get better. I think his lead hand is going to get better. I think Volk is a great training partner. I am going to go with Mauricio Rufy in this one. I think his boxing's better than Fiziev. I think Fiziev may have better combinations, but I think the power and the accuracy of Rufy is better. And I do think Fiziev's the better kicker, but I think the gap isn't as wide as it is in the boxing. Um, I will say Fiziev has shown he can go a hard 15 more consistently than Rufy, and Fiziev is durable. But I'm gonna get a hot take for this. Losing a striking match to Justin Gaethje twice to me, it's not bad, but I don't think it's also good. In the Paddy Pimblett fight we just saw, I thought Gaethje looked old and as slow as ever. Not too long ago, Fiziev lost to this guy on the feet. I do believe Mauricio Rufy right now. If he had fought Justin Gaethje, I would pick Mauricio Rufy to win. Just like I picked Fiziev to beat Gaethje twice and was wrong, I think Rufy would starch Gaethje right now. That's just me. Everybody can have their own opinion, but I remember picking Fiziev twice against Gaethje, being disappointed both times. I do think Rufy is better on the feet than Gaethje, so I'm gonna go Mauricio Rufy, and I could see a knockout honestly, but I'm gonna go with a hard fought decision, and I think that the boxing of Rufy is gonna be what separated him in this fight.
Why is Gaethje always the measuring post? It's just like, oh, this guy can knock out Gaethje. This guy can beat Gaethje.
Well, I know. Yeah, it's funny enough. I should have picked Gaethje last week, but the reason I bring him up is because literally the fight before Bahamundes was Gaethje, and I don't know, man. Like in the striking against Pimlet, like he clearly dropped him and hurt him and fucked him up, but at the same time, he's hittable, and Fiziev can't fucking land a meaningful shot like in the fight enough to like he rocked him, but like he didn't like drop him like I thought he would. I really thought Fiziev was gonna beat Gaethje at least once, if not twice, in those two fights. I left that fight uninspired. The Bobby Green fight was close. I think Rufy's a better striker than all these guys. Like honestly, now that I think about it, like outside of Bahamundes, I think Rufy's the best striker that what's it called? Fiziev would have faced in the UFC
Yeah.
outside of Bahamundes. And as for Fiziev, as for Rufy, you could say the same thing. You could say Fiziev's the best striker he fought up to this point.
Um, I'm just still yet to be sold on Rufy. You're picking Rufy though?
Yep, I'm gonna go decision. I could see a knockout, but I am gonna go Rufy. I love the training move of Volkanovski. I think he's gonna look good. I think he's gonna look
Well,
really improved in the striking. So I'm gonna go Rufy.
I heard it was confirmed he's staying with the fighting nerds. It was just like some temporary stuff with Volk in his gym.
Okay,
My
cool.
guess is it was probably like he training for Volk to help with the wrestling and his overall game with like Benoit, and Rufy was there to help him as like a training partner for Diego.
Yeah.
But moving on to our co-main event, Benoit Saint Denis versus Dan Hooker. It's a tough fight for me. I'm thinking split on both. I do think this could be similar to the Gamrot fight where Hooker was able to kind of scrap him in the pocket and get range enough to land some short hooks and stuff like that and win the fight. Let's be honest, that could have been Gamrot's fight too. Gamrot had moments on the feet against Dan Hooker. I think the difference between a Benoit and a Gamrot, they do have in some ways similar styles. They both have similar like cardio-esque take you down, let you get back up styles. I think Benoit is tougher. I think he's got a better chin. I think he's stronger. And I think he has more to offer on the feet as well. And I think those are all things that'll play a huge difference. If Gamrot was already having success, I think Benoit is going to have that similar success on the feet that Gamrot did. And I'm not saying he's a better striker than Hooker. He's not. But I do think with the takedown threat, you can open up these things. Um, I think Benoit just simply is going to be able to eat the shots better than Gamrot did. And if Gamrot never got dropped in that first round, he wins that first round. I think that's just what it's gonna come down to. I think Benoit isn't gonna get dropped in situations where Gamrot did. I think he's a lot stronger than Gamrot as well. I think he's gonna be able to get more control time than Gamrot. I think he's gonna be able to get the takedowns easier than Gamrot, despite maybe Gamrot being a better technical wrestler. I see him as kind of a skinny, frailer dude, whereas Benoit is tough as nails, strong, durable. He'll just throw the kitchen sink at you. He'll just fucking throw 4 body kicks at your elbow and hope you fucking get hurt by it, you know? He doesn't really care. You know, he's hard to put down. Only person that's been able to do it is Dustin. And, you know, I don't think Hooker's as good as Dustin. On the contrary, I don't think Benoit's as good as Armin, but I think, and Hooker just simply is a career journeyman, and we've seen that time and time again. I don't care how many tattoos he gets or how many times he dyes his hair. He's the same Dan Hooker, and I think that's been shown time and time again. I don't think Benoit is gonna be able to get a submission as easily as Armin did. I don't know if he'll get a submission at all. I'm probably gonna pick him by decision. I do think he'll be able to get the grappling going, and that'll open up the striking. He'll eat the shots better than Gamrot, and he'll be able to strike better than Gamrot, and I think that'll be enough for damn near 30-27 decision, bar maybe a scorecard trying to give it to Hooker. But I think this should be a dominant decision win for Benoit.
Uh, tough fight. Honestly, tough fight to predict. I really want to go with Dan, and I'm going to tell you why. Benoit's overrated in my opinion. I get it. He's on a little win streak. The roofie one's his best win right now, I feel like, but let's be honest. I know it was quick, but everybody was picking him to beat Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush isn't really that good anymore. I know he came off a win against Hanato, but I love Moicano, but that ain't too much of a good win in this high of a division. Like, I like Moicano. I think he's a good top 15 fighter, but I don't think that's a good win for a top 5 level opponent, top 5 level or top 10 caliber fighter. Um I really want to go with Dan Hooker. I really do. I think he could use his experience and his veteranship to go in against Saint Denis. I like Dustin. I even picked Dustin to beat him, but I ain't gonna lie. I think Dustin won that fight mainly out of just using his veteranship and skill. Uh, and I thought, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't think Dustin was really that good anymore. Like, I think he kind of lost his flow when he was looking crispy in the boxing, and that's crazy to say because he knocked out Benoit, but I don't know. I think Dan could knock him out. Benoit has no defense. He really doesn't. But I could just see Benoit repeatedly getting takedowns on him, and he could also land too. I think both just have shit defense. They just go for bar fights. And I'm gonna favor Benoit Saint Denis here. I think he's gonna win via club and sub. I think he's gonna rock Dan a little bit, and then he's gonna get the takedown, and then he's gonna get a rear naked or something like that, an arm triangle. I think he's gonna do something here. I'm gonna go with a second round finish for BSD. I do think he will lose his next fight though.
Good fight here in the lightweight division. This is our co-main event of the evening, correct? Yeah. Big fight here. Dan Hooker coming off a disappointing effort against Armin Sarukian in UFC Qatar, I believe. Yeah, he got smashed. I mean, Armin, he's a top three lightweight in the world right now. There's no shame in that. He's a very tough style to fight. We all kind of saw that coming. ESD, he's on at least a three-fight win streak, up to my knowledge, ever since losing to Hanato Moicano. He's beaten Prepolek, which I think is like an underrated win. I know he lost to Drew Dober, but I thought he was on his way, very much way to beating Drew Dober, Kyle Prepolek. So that's a little underrated win for BSD. Then he was able to derail the hype train of Mauricio Rufy in my vote for last year's submission of the year. Not really the highest level of submission, but just in terms of the how big of an upset it was and the moment for BSD, that was a good win for him. And then he freaking destroyed BSD's chin in 15 seconds, which was shocking to say the least. Um, but yeah, he's on a three-fight win streak. He's kind of put himself back in that potential title picture, which I think is good to see. It's good for France to have a high-level MMA representative other than Cyril Gane, because that's a great representative too. But I like BSD, man. He's entertaining. Has he put a dud yet in the UFC? I think every fucking fight BSD fights is amazing, is it not? Like every time he goes out there, he hasn't had one boring fight, win, lose, or draw. Um, Dan Hooker, he's a veteran. He's fought at 145. He's fought at 155. He's fought the who's who of 155. Durable, tough, can take a punch, can give one back. Um, Rangy, can kickbox. You could argue the more technical striker going into this one. I don't think BSD's grappling is as good as Armin's, so I can hear as to why Mike wants to pick Dan Hooker. On paper, you kind of have to say Gamrot and um, what did I just say? Armin. You have to say Armin and Gamrot are a level in the grappling better than BSD. So I could understand Mike wanting to pick Hooker, but I think the momentum of BSD right now, um, the finishing instincts, the relentlessness, the willingness to score points, whether it's damage or submission attempts. I think he's a marauder. I mean, BSD just goes forward, man. That's what he does. Doesn't have boring fights. He's a tank. He's only been knocked out the one time by Poirier. We do have to kind of put an asterisk on that performance because he had staff. I don't want to take that away from Poirier's win, but it is just something to note. Um, I am going to go BSD. I'm torn between a TKO and a submission. I don't think this fight will be like the Gamrot fight where it went the distance. I feel like BSD is more of a finisher. I feel like he will be going for that finish. He's on a three-fight finishing streak since losing to Moicano, two submissions and a knockout. I do think Hooker's chin is far better than Beneil's right now. I think that's obvious. So I'm gonna go with a. I think Hooker's tough though. I think it's gonna take something to break him. I do think that. I think this is gonna be a great fight. I'm gonna go third round TKO BSD in a fun fight. I think it'll be a scrap that they'll go back and forth. Mm. I'm thinking third round TKO, but it should have been a second round. But Hooker's just so tough for his own good that he stayed in for too long and he just kind of got broken. I want to go late second or early third. That's how I'm feeling. So I'll go third round TKO BSD. It's just a mix of grappling attempts. But Hooker's gonna do enough to defend the submission, having coming off a submission loss against Armin. So I feel like he's gonna defend the hooks and do a lot of that. But then BSD is just gonna pivot to, all right, you're defending the choke, so now I'm just gonna start teeing off on you on the ground. So I'm gonna go to a third round TKO BSD. I could see late second, but I'm gonna go third.
All right, moving in to our main event of the evening. Diego Lopes versus Alexander Volkanovski, the rematch. Undeserved rematch, a little too soon. That being said, I actually am going to be picking Diego Lopes, despite I think he doesn't deserve the shot and it was too soon. He showed great improvements against Gene Silva. I liked how he got more tactical with his boxing. He used the jab a lot better. He was able to land good shots on Gene Silva. He used to really setting stuff up compared to kind of just throwing and winging hooks. Now it felt like when he hurt and rocked Ortega, it was almost by accident. That spinning elbow I didn't feel like was an accident. I feel like he really sucked him in, paused, and hit him with it. I feel like Diego Lopes has a little bit more intention behind his strikes now rather than just trying to, pretty much just one shot kill everybody. He also used his grappling more. I don't think that would be necessarily a factor in this fight. I think honestly the person I expect to grapple more is Volk. Him using his grappling more, I do think is a good sign if you want him to defend takedowns against somebody like Volk. Despite him only using it offensively against Gene, I do think there's a chance that maybe he's been working on his defensive grappling as well, especially for this fight. He's been able to hurt Volk already in that fight. He was able to drop Volk twice, and I think now that we have a more polished Diego Lopez, Volk's a year older. Volk used to be known as the activity guy. He really can't be active anymore, and I feel like it's just the downslope from here. Even if he does beat Diego Lopez, he is still not the same Volk that was three-peating Max Holloway. I don't think he's that guy anymore. He does have the skills, but he's taken a lot of damage. His chin is certainly his weak point, and Diego Lopez already proved that he can get to it. He's able to drop and almost TKO Volk in the second round of their first fight, and there was like a weird kind of a second knockdown in the fourth round where it seemed like he affected Volk's eye, and he kind of just winged him with punches. I think he'll make better decisions in finishing fights. I don't think he's just gonna start winging punches on top against Volk. I think we can see a little bit more of a deliberate ground and pound with elbows to the body, maybe even just getting the finish against a guy like Volk, opening up the shots. Volk's very elusive. He's certainly the better striker as well, but when you're as powerful as Diego, you just gotta land, and he was already able to land. Now that he's got a better facility and delivery system for those punches, I'm gonna be honest, I think it's gonna be a unfortunate knockout in home soil for our boy Volk. Go Diego Lopez, second round KO this time. If he knocked him down in the second round, I think he's gonna knock him out in the second round. I'm gonna go Diego Lopez. I'm gonna say some hook drops Lopez or drops Volk, and he follows up his ground and pound, is able to kind of hold him down a little bit better and get the finishing shots off and get a TKO on the ground. Say Diego Lopez, second round TKO. 4 day for
I
Volk.
get I get why people are picking picking Diego Lopez. I really do. But I'm gonna say fuck all of them. I'm not gonna switch up. I'm gonna go with Volk. I think he's gonna get the two-peat here. He does really good in rematches, and I like Diego. I really do. I think his whole demeanor coming into this fight is funny as hell. Like everybody's just gonna be like, "Oh, he don't deserve a title shot. He don't deserve a title shot." I hate those motherfuckers. Don't get me wrong. He don't deserve the title shot. I agree. But shut the fuck up, okay? It's a good fight. I'd rather watch that than Mavzar Evloev. Or I'd rather watch Lerone Murphy over... Honestly, and fuck Mavzar Evloev. Anyways, this is just gonna be a hate for Evloev. Fuck it. No, I'm joking. I just don't like that people are sleeping on Volk, man. I really don't. I think he showed he showed that championship demeanor that he's always had, and he still got it. Like he at 37 years old, he was still able to eat shots. He was still able to be technical. He was still able to go in and out. Like Volk still got it, man. And I think this little layoff that he's on right now, I think this was very good for him, especially at how old he is. Um, I just think this is a good little momentum for Volk right now. I think he will win this fight in Australia, his hometown. I think he owes it to the fans, especially like his country. He had his last fight in Australia didn't go his way, unfortunately, even though it was a fucking phenomenal fight. But I think he's gonna have that hunger in him to get a win in his hometown, in his home country, and still for Alexander the Great Volkanovski. I think he will. I think he will have a more safe uh, strategy in this fight. I don't think he's gonna come in and try to have a bar fight with Diego. I think he's gonna be more technical in this fight. I think he's gonna go for more leg kicks. I think he's gonna go for more for more shots in and shots out. I think he's going to stay in and out. I don't think he's going to allow Diego to have that bar fight because we have seen it. We did see it in that first fight. He was getting hurt. He was getting dropped. But I just think Volk still got it. And I think this is going to be a 48, 47, 49, 46, one of those range for Volk. Still got it, man. He's still got it. I want to believe in it. I think he's got it, man. Tony.
All right. Main event of the evening. Featherweight Championship of the World. The rematch that the UFC desperately wants. Before I give my prediction for this fight, I am gonna be one of the people that Mike hates. I am gonna go on a little rant, just a little one. I do think this is an unwarranted rematch. This this also makes me mad at Gene Silva because I picked him to beat Diego Lopez, and this now tells me that if he had won this fight, he would have gotten the title shot against Volk. So even more, I'm more mad at him because I thought, yes, Diego Lopez clearly won the fight. He finished him. He definitely won, and he did a really good job in round one with the grappling and hurting Gene Silva. But I really feel Gene Silva fumbled that fight, especially with seeing how he looked against Arnold Allen coming off that fight. I thought he looked good in that fight as well. But that's the only relevance that has to this fight is just because it's Diego Lopez's last fight before this fight. So we're giving a one fight win streak a title shot. All right. The UFC clearly wants Lopez to be the champion. It's kind of crazy that Mexico's best chance at a belt is a Brazilian. That is kind of wild to me. Um, Lopez is very exciting. He has not had one bad fight in the UFC. I will give him credit on that. So I could definitely see as to why Mike is also like, I'll take it. Like, I'll take exciting over boring any day. And I completely get it. But at the same time, I'm a guy who values win streaks, rankings. But in that same aspect, Movsar Evloev, he's not doing himself any favors. The inactivity, not willingness to fight. I mean, you put in the promotion in a situation where they have to do things like this. Um, Lerone Murphy coming off that first round knockout over Aaron Pico, I thought he would have been eligible for a title shot, but it is what it is. That's the business. Actually, getting to this fight, I think Lopez is dangerous. I think he is one of the top, like definitely five, if not top three finisher at featherweight right now. The danger with him on the feet, the danger with him on the ground, it's just a lot to worry about. I think you have to be a certain caliber of fighter to be equipped to defeat that. And at a UFC level, we've only seen two guys be able to do it: undefeated Movsar Evloev and current champion Alexander Volkanovski. And I think that speaks to the pedigree of Diego Lopez, that he's only losing to someone who's undefeated and the champ. That does tell you how good he is. Volkanovski at a UFC level, who is he losing to? Pound for pound, number one, arguably Islam Makhachev, and potentially the goat of the sport, Ilya Topuria. I think that shows you how good he is. So this is a very much high level fight. This is, in my opinion, the most dangerous featherweight in the world versus the champion. I'm biased. A lot of us here are Volkanovski fans. I picked him in the first fight at the UFC 314 in Miami last year, and I was pleasantly surprised to see him win the fight, but not only win the fight, in a weird way. Now I'm gonna sound like a dickhead, but I actually was happy to see that Volk got dropped and got back up. Not happy to see him get dropped. I was very much worried for him in that moment, but it was kind of comforting to know that he could get dropped, bounce back, and still win it. Now at age 37, that's something I don't want him to rely on into this fight. Don't fucking think you could get dropped and things are gonna be good. But it was just good to see that his chin isn't completely gone. I do think his chin is still there. I think he can take a punch still. But in that fight, if we rewatch it, especially early on in the fight, where you think Diego Lopez is his most dangerous, Volkanovski was very much willing to be in the pocket with that more than you'd like him to if you were picking Volk in that fight. If you had money on Volk or you were picking him, he showed you, bro, I don't give a fuck. I'm right here. He's going in and out. Hitting Lopez, fucking, he took chances. He took real risks, despite the narrative of him like having no chin anymore. And I think in this fight, he's going to be more defensively aware and potentially take less chances. I do agree with Mike that we're going to get a safer, smarter Volk in this fight than we got at 314. I think he kind of risked it in that fight, and I think he's going to mix in more takedowns in this fight, contrary to popular opinion. I do think he's going to strike a lot, but I think Volk is actually going to try to get top control time on Diego Lopes. And the reason I'm cool with that is because I think Volk is unsubbable. Now, this take could age poorly, like within a couple days, if Diego Lopes somehow subs him. I will say before I say this, I think the only way you could submit Volkanovski, you have to club him. You have to disorient him, concuss him, and then take his neck and try to submit him or armbar him or leg lock, whatever. His frame, I think, is built for him to never be submitted. He has great cardio, low center of gravity, hard to take him down. He has no neck, short arms, short legs. He's very compact. It's hard to grab him. I think you cannot sub this guy. Brian Ortega, who I would have to think is a better jiu-jitsu guy than Lopes, maybe not in MMA, but just on credential, he had him in multiple submission attempts, couldn't get it done. And Makachev had him in back sitting, and he couldn't finish him. So now I'm supposed to believe Diego Lopes is going to do him like that? I promise you this, at least to my knowledge, Volkanovski will not get done in the grappling like Gene Silva did in round one against Diego Lopes. He will not have him in back mount, in back flat, fucking teeing off 12-6 elbows. I think Volkanovski is going to try to mix in the clinch, cage ride. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. We could be in for a boring fight, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I think this is Volk decision by any means necessary. Do whatever you have to do to get your hand raised. I think Volkanovski's delivered the last like 3 to 5 fights, exciting fights. I think we are due for a Volkanovski boring decision. And I think he's going to do whatever it takes to win this fight. Clinch riding, takedowns, top time, range management, low kicks, jabs. Very safe, very disciplined game plan. I'm calling for an Alexander Volkanovski and still boring masterclass. I think he's going to do whatever it takes to win. And like literally, let's look at his last couple fights. I thought 314 was entertaining, the first Lopes fight. Knocked out by Tapuria at 298. He got knocked out in a rematch on short notice at 294, I think. Yeah, February, the 4 card, yeah. 294 against Makachev the second time. He beat Yair, I think, at 290 at International Fight Week. That was exciting. And then 284 was the pound for pound fight. That was exciting. He gave you 5 good performances, win, lose, or draw. You're due for a dud. I think this is going to be a pay per view kind of terrible fight a little bit, but I'm cool with it. Volk by any means necessary. Do whatever you got to do to win. If it's a boring decision, I'm perfectly fine with it. I got Volk by a boring decision, and I'm perfectly okay with it. This is Diego Lopes. I doesn't deserve a title shot, but I'm perfectly fine. However, he gets the win.
I actually think it's a misconception that people think Volk's boring. Because, like, honestly, like, what is the most boring Volk fight in his title reign that you can think of?
It's not. There's none. There's
There's
none.
no
The only fight that I think that was. Sorry, I cut you off, Alex. I think the only one fight that was boring in his career wasn't a title fight. I think it was the fight that got him to a title shot. It was the Jose Aldo fight. I think that was the only fight that was boring, and I used to hate it because I'm a huge Aldo fan. I love Jose Aldo, but looking at it now, I'm not as mad at it because I've seen the Marab fights. I've seen the Mario Batista fights. I saw those fights. I'm like, you know what? Volk is good, and he shut me up in thinking like he was this boring guy, but he's actually he's a fucking dog. And I don't think this is gonna be a boring fight. But Alex, continue.
Yeah, I think it leans definitely on the more, side of entertaining, but what I was saying is, in my opinion, the most boring fight of his title reign was his first fight, the first fight against Max Holloway.
That type of fight. That's what I'm calling for.
I think we've seen a trajectory where he goes from, kind of pitter pat striker, even when he was having entertaining fights around that time, like the second Max fight, it was more tit for tat, chess matchy. But then we started getting into fights where he's just dog walking Yair, dog walking Ortega, having a fight of the year candidate against Islam. And I think in a part of that was just him getting more aggressive as time goes on. I think obviously he's a full-fledged MMA fighter, but he's becoming more of that, as time goes on. Because you got to remember, this is an MMA fighter. This isn't a kickboxer turned MMA fighter. This isn't a wrestler turned MMA fighter. This is an MMA fighter. I feel like he's become more comfortable with his himself to like kind of throw in the pocket. I feel like that could be a detriment against somebody like
You're
Ilya.
right. All of those opponents, Ortega, Yair, even Max, Islam. Oh, I'm thinking Volk has felt that power, and he's thinking Lopez hits harder, and I'm going to be safer. And that's why I say he's going to have a more disciplined approach. Maybe boring was the wrong term. It's not going to be necessarily dominant, but I just think he's just going to have a very well managed performance where he gets top time, rides the fence if he has to, gets leg kicks, gets his 1-2 in and out. Very disciplined, like Shevchenko esque performance. That's what I'm calling for from Volkanovski. A high IQ performance where he stays out of trouble, scores points, and effectively and efficiently wins the fight.
I could see it. I think that's definitely what he's gotta do. He's gotta avoid throwing in the pocket, but, I've
And
never seen
Gene Silva was lighting up Lopez's ass up before he ran into a spinning elbow. He was teeing off on him. Now Volk, it doesn't hit as hard as Silva, but I could see certain strikes that Silva was doing that I could see Volk landing as well in those sequences with the kicks. I could see the front kick more in this fight actually too. I think Volk calling that now. Volk's gonna throw the front kick more than he has in a lot of fights in the past in this fight.
like that. That would be nice to keep range.
That shit was landing consistently for Gene Silva on Diego Lopez.
Yeah, Diego's hittable. That's like a big problem of his, but he does have
But
a good
because he's
so
so in your face, he's like right there. He caught he was didn't give Silva any breathing room in that fight, and I expect him to have a similar. He's going to go forward. That's what he does. So Volk's got to be smart enough to maneuver it, navigate it, counter it, take him down if he has to. And I think he's going to do that. I think at 314 he fought more wild than he should have. I think we're going to get more of a safer, conservative approach.
yeah, but we could say that for, Lopez as well. He's toned it back a
Could
lot,
see
fought
that too.
jab.
He's added the leg kick. That was a good weapon for him in the Gene Silva fight. Maybe I could see him trying to play the calf kick game with Volk in this fight, where he's going to go power over quantity.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I do feel like, it's similar to the first time they fought, but it is different in ways as well. I am excited for this fight, despite it being sorta undeserved. They are trying to get Volk out of here and replace him with a Mexican champ. That is what they're doing.
I think
100%.
324 is a better card than 325, but the main event of 325, I'm more interested in the main event of 324.
Patty Gaethje?
Yeah. I think last week was a better card as a whole than this card, but the main fight and what was the co-main event last week? It was O'Malley and Yadong.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think BSD and Dan Hooker could outshine that. I think it could.
could.
Yeah.
I feel like Patty
I am
Gaethje
more
is
interested than
more,
Volk Lopez,
though,
and not
but
even just for star value, just for the sentiment of it's an undisputed. That is, at the end of the day, that's an interim title. This is for an undisputed champion,
hear
so
ya.
it just weighs more. It does naturally weigh more.
Yeah. Undisputed title versus a plastic title.
Correct.
Yeah. But, I do think that'll, conclude it for our UFC 325 predictions. Thanks for coming, everybody, and watching. Been, Mike, Alex, and Tony, Wartime MMA podcast. Shout out Jay for recording. We will see you next week for Batista versus Oliveira. Peace.